All right. Like I said, we are back. So, as previously stated, let me switch over here. As previously stated, we are getting into an interesting time as it pertains to art. What I'm specifically talking about is AI created art. I just did a quick and nerdy about this, and I talked about 3 of the best free options when we're creating text to image art. And there we go. So the 3 that I mentioned in that quick and nerdy short are this one here, Crayon, and then Starry AI is this, and Night Cafe Studio is this one right here. So we're also going to touch on this guy here is Dream Studio. And let's see if I can get into my Midjourney here as well. Midjourney AI. Midjourney.com. Oh, that's right. D. Sign in. Sign in with Discord. Yeah, okay. And I've already used up all of my Midjourney credits. So, but we are going to talk about that and what all that means. So, where to start? Obviously, AI generated art is an art form where, and that's even kind of a controversial statement, calling it an art form. I mean, it's art. It's visually pleasing. It's aesthetically pleasing. Just because it was created by a computer doesn't mean it's not art. Now, the validity and the quality then comes into question because it is... It literally takes you seconds to create what would be otherwise months or longer creation. Like something like this. I'm going to open one of my more recent ones up on Night Cafe. This guy here. Let me make sure that's coming through. So something like this right here would take a very long time, even in a digital realm. Even if you're creating it exclusively in Photoshop, this would take quite a long time to do by hand. And even if Photoshop you don't count as by hand, it's much more by hand than this. So let's open image in new tab so we can get a better look. So yeah, so there's a crazy amount of detail in this, and it would just take a long time to get all of these ribs and all of the stuff in the background and all of that, the volumetric lighting and all this would just take a while. So that's why like traditional art communities are not super happy about it, which is understandable. And I honestly think of it more as a starting point than actually a completed work of art. This is kind of just direction to point, and then I would do, I mean, like I have been doing, I'll even pull that up. I don't know how I'm going to make that happen in here. Oh, I guess I have the Instagram should be here somewhere. Let's check this out. Go to profile, and then we take a look at this guy is the most recent one that I've posted right there. So that is effectively a live or a real person version of the Nerdy Ninja logo that I have that I put on everything, right? So this was kind of the first iteration of it. Actually, no, this was the first iteration of it. And then we got to here, got him the little neck piece, made that neck look a little more natural. And then I liked these glasses better and kind of wanted to see how it looked with the hair instead of with the ninja cap. So yeah, and that all came from different pieces. So like I took the individual pieces and created a composite. So that's kind of where it sits with the community. It has its own subculture, I guess, inside of the art community. And some people really dig it because it is so easy and you can create such crazy looking stuff so quickly. And it's those same reasons that people just are not really warming up to it very much, because it's too easy and too quick. So we're going to touch on. We'll start here with Crayon, because this is probably the most rudimentary of them all. I don't know exactly if this is the case, but it definitely seems to be the case that it's very obvious there are different algorithms involved with how this is all happening. Those algorithms get you pretty dramatically different results with the same prompt. But some of those algorithms some of those prompts are triggering effectively the same algorithm, just different instances of the same algorithm. And I think that something like DALL-E 2 and Midjourney, which again are the big ones right now, are using the prompts for their lesser algorithms to make the main algorithms more powerful. I can't say that for certain, but there is fair reason to believe such things are the case. So Midjourney, no, I'm sorry, Crayon. We're starting at Crayon. So let's say Crayon, we're just going to do, because I'm a big nerd, Mortal Kombat Ninja. We'll just go there. Mortal Kombat Ninja and see what that does. Crayon does not give you a whole lot of detail. Crayon is pretty rudimentary when it comes to the creation. Sorry, I lost the remote. Let's see if I can open some. I have other pieces that I have just stored, and that might actually go a little bit faster. Open with Firefox. There we go. So this is Cyberpunk Ninja, and the way Crayon works is it generates a 9x9 grid. So each one of these is its own image, and then you would click on each individual image, and then you get something like this. Where'd my folder go? When you click on that image, it would open up, and as you can see, this isn't exactly a large image. This image is very likely just this exact dimensions blown up to be the overall dimensions, because it's very soft, it's very digitized. There's a lot of aliasing going on in here. You've got a lot of I forget what the word is. Issues though with straight lines and stuff. Whereas the little version of it looks pretty clean, the big version of it is not. So Crayon is, again, super rudimentary. Let's see if it has generated. There we go. And it does okay with certain things, but you get a lot of headless images. You get a lot of, it can't really give you human figures. There's a lot of just like, if you squint your eyes, it kind of looks like the thing you're looking for. So again, not the most powerful of the AIs. It's fun to play around with, but doesn't really do the job. So then moving up, we're going to Starry.ai, starryai.com rather. This one is quite a bit more powerful and actually works very similarly to Night Cafe Studio, which is the one that I put at the top of the list for the quick and nerdy. There are some very key differences here, and we're going to get into that. So first off, it's run on a point system. So when you start, it gives you something like 5 or 10 points just for or credits, I guess, just for opening an account. And it's free to open an account. See, here's how credits work. So you get 5 free daily credits, and all you have to do is log in and claim them. If you don't log in inside of that 24-hour window, then you basically just lose those free credits. And then you can purchase credits, which is what it brings up to you automatically. Credits are fairly cheap, I guess. 40 cents per credit at the cheapest, or 15 cents per credit if you want to pay them $150. It seems a little ridiculous, especially considering you can earn credits. Now, earning credits is a little wonky with this one. You share a tweet on your Twitter account and you get 3 credits, but you can only do that once every 3 days. Likewise on Instagram, likewise on Reddit, likewise on TikTok. And you have to link up your account so that or tell them what your account is so that they can verify that you're posting the things. The big one over here on the left, Starry AI Club, is up to 1,000 credits. But if you go into the details, this has to do with likes, people liking your stuff. And then when you get to a certain size, when you get so many likes, then you have to start getting followers. Once you get 250 followers, and then in order to get the 10,000 credits, or 500 credits rather, the top of this tier, you have to have 1,000 followers and 10,000 likes, which, I mean, there's millions of people generating on these platforms, so that's going to take some doing if you want to get to that point. The free ones are fine. You can create, if you only want to just play around and kind of create a couple of things a day, then five credits is fine. The interface for this one, and that's the other thing, is this: when you create an artwork, it generates 4 different artworks, and then you can individually go in and upscale them. So I think this is the one that I upscaled. Yeah. So you go in and individually upscale. You click on the upscale button. It brings this drop-down menu, and then you get a free 4 times upscale as long as you're paying them for the pro level. Or you spend credits to get an 8 times upscale or a 16 times upscale. So I got the 16 on this guy because I'm going to use this part of the hood for a different piece. Oh, that's the one we just looked at. And then there's something like this. And we're going to get into this image specifically here in just a minute. But yeah, this is really interesting stuff. 2 hands on this. A lot of these really, oh wow, I totally forgot that this one existed. A lot of these really have issues with hands of people. So if you're looking to create hands, it's difficult. Also, sometimes, I don't know exactly what triggers this, but for some reason they will randomly try and generate letters, and the letters work, but the words don't. So that's just pretty kind of across the board. So this is, yeah, Mortal Kombat Ninja. I did nerdy Mortal Kombat Ninja was the prompt, and this is what we got out of it. So yeah, a little weird, but all right. So if you go into create, there are 3 different algorithms here. Altair is their abstract one. Orion is also pretty abstract, but it seems a little more again, that's kind of more if you squint, it kind of looks like this thing. That's the Orion AI. And then Argo is their interaction for Stable Diffusion. Stable Diffusion is kind of the sleeper of the 3 big ones, we've only talked about 2 of the 3 big ones. Stable Diffusion is the 3rd of the big art generators. So DALL-E 2 being the first, and then Midjourney being probably the most popular. Stable Diffusion is kind of, it's freeware. It's open source AI that you can effectively download onto your computer. And I said, actually, I know I cut that part out because I didn't know when I filmed, but between filming and editing the Quick and Nerdy, I learned that it does not cost you money to do to install the Stable Diffusion AI onto your computer and run it there. You can generate all you want all day long, whatever, with no cost except for the time and the power and so on and so forth. The reason that it costs to access it through something like this is because they only have so much bandwidth, they only have so much processing capabilities at where the AIs are housed, wherever that may be. Writing an essay for class. Oh, yikes. What's the class, bud? So we have Argo is their Stable Diffusion. Stable Diffusion is almost as powerful as Midjourney, and I don't have any hands-on access to DALL-E 2, but DALL-E 2 is powerful in different ways, but as far as the images that it generates, I would say DALL-E and Stable Diffusion are kind of comparable. I honestly think the most powerful and the most artistic is Midjourney. But we're going to get to that. So we go into the Argo AI, and then this is basically the interface that you get with Argo Starry AI and with Night Cafe. So you have your prompt window here. They have a styles window. This is kind of just like auto text. So if you want it to say render hyper realistic, and then you want to use this as a reference, and then you want to use Gustave Doré, and you want to use X, Y, and Z, then it will. Oh, come on! What the heck? Yeah, there we go. So it adds them as you click on them, and so you can add those down here. Which is a little bit different, but effectively, again, it's basically the same. This also has the ability of starting of an initial image. So you give it a frame of reference, and then it uses that frame of reference and then applies all of your prompt and all of the styles to that frame of reference. Oh, I totally didn't even realize this was here for some reason, but this makes total sense. This creates variations. So those 4 different variations, if you remember, we'll go back to my creations. The 4 variations, here, I could have turned that down to 1, apparently. I'm just silly. So yeah, 4 variations. Oh, yeah, okay. 4 is the minimum. Maybe that's why I didn't register, because I tried to play with it and it wouldn't let me go lower. So variations, it's multiples of 4. Oh, specifically only 4 or 8. And then that's all just the basic stuff. And then you can add advanced settings. So I have my advanced setting box clicked. And you can do canvas size. So this is the ratio of the image. So 4x5, wide 5x3, landscape 4x3, square, which is all you can do in DALL-E, and mobile portrait is 9x16. So the wide on Night Cafe is 16x9, and here it's 5x3. Seems a little silly, but it is what it is. And then iterations. So this is how long effectively it runs your prompt and all of the styles and everything through it, to the AI, because if the AI doesn't know certain things as well, and if you guys want, I can get into a deep dive on kind of more specifics about all of the terms that I'm using, but this is how long it iterates. So if you let's put it in human terms. If you're drawing a picture and you take 5 minutes to draw a picture, and you've never drawn a certain thing before, but you know roughly what it looks like, then that 5-minute picture is going to look pretty rough. Now, if you double your time and take 10 minutes to draw this thing that you know roughly what it looks like, it's going to look a little bit better. And then again, up to 15 minutes. And this is, I'm just putting this into a more casual vocabulary, but you get the idea, right? So the longer you take to draw a thing, the more like what it should look, it is going to look. That's very confusing language. The longer you work on something, the better it comes out in the end, if it's something you've never done before. So when these AIs are trained, they get like millions and millions and millions and millions of pictures. So if your point of reference is, I don't know, a Mortal Kombat ninja, to stick with the theme, then let's put that in. We'll put that into the prompt. So again, same thing, Mortal Kombat ninja, no other modifiers. We're just gonna Mortal Kombat ninja. So if we have it iterate for 150 iterations, and we're gonna go portrait, and we'll have it create. So if you've never drawn the thing before, this is kind of what happens. Like, it kind of looks that it's vaguely like it's supposed to. Like, this one actually looks quite good. This one I dig too. It's a little fuzzy up here, but I think that's fixable. But this one's a little wonky. And then we get into this guy over here, and that looks all right. That one looks pretty damn good. This is a little weird. And then this one doesn't really look human anymore. So, yeah. It's going to take a little bit longer. Like I said, we ran it on 150 iterations. So that's about the extent of Starry AI. It takes a lot longer to get credits because you can only earn so many credits in a given day, and it's not quite as powerful, even though technically that Argo algorithm is a stable diffusion algorithm. There are different instances of stable diffusion. Let's see if we can even get into that on here. I don't think we can. Nope. So that's about as far as you can go with that one. Also mostly free. But then the one that we got into that I said was the best, and I totally stand by that statement. We're going to go down all the way to the first thing I created on here. We're going to walk through all of those creations real quick. So I've created quite a bit, apparently. There we go. That's the beginning. These first few were before Stable Diffusion became open source and they released it to the public. But let's go same kind of basic situation. You have your library. You earn credits. This is based on credits again. Right now I have 39 credits sitting in my thing. I got my daily credits. You get daily credits here. You get credits for sharing just like you do over there, but why is it not in here? No, buddy. No. Shh. All right, so there's a whole breakdown of how you earn credits, and I can't seem to find it. Feedback, support, terms of service, credits. There we go. All right. So the breakdown here, again, your most expensive credits, if you were just buying them at the cheapest level, is you pay $10 and you get 100 credits. So it's 10 cents a credit. The best deal they have is just over 5 cents a credit. So that's pretty good. But then there's also the way to earn the free ones. Shh, buddy. Earn credits. No. Sorry, my dog is hearing other dogs outside barking. All right, so you can earn credits on social media. So the social sharing, you basically have to tag them in it and include a link to the piece, and you also have to connect your accounts similar to what we did in Starry AI. So there's that. There's you publish every 100 credits or 100 creations, you get 10 credits. For 500 likes, you get 10 credits. When you and these all change as well because I've already received a couple of the like credits, so it kind of changes the goalpost. Once you've met the thing, then it moves it, so you can earn more by continuing that activity. So if you go through, you can go to the Explore tab up here, go to explore, and then you see other artists that have published pieces. You like those pieces, and the first milestone I think is 50 creations. If you like 50 creations, it gives you, I think it's 5 credits, might be 3 credits. So you like 50, it gives you those credits, and then the next level is like 100 creations, and then the next level is 200, and so on and so forth. So I'm up to 500 likes. I need to hit 500 likes, and I'll get 10 more credits. Get 25 likes. So you get likes, same way, other people doing the explore option. And that gives you credits as well. I have not met I think this is my second tier for that. And then you get followers. Again, this functions similarly to a social media page, social media page. So people can follow you, and then when you follow other people, that they puts their published works into your My Feed tab. So I have a couple of followers. So I guess this might be the second level, 50 followers for 10 credits. And then you follow people. I haven't followed that many people, so I still have to follow a few to get my first credit. Get 5 comments on a creation. I haven't yet received 5 comments on a single creation. And get 10 comments overall. That might be my second tier for that one. So, and there's more badges. No kidding. I didn't see that before. There are a bunch of different badges, and then you can probably click in here and see. So that's really cool. I didn't realize that. But either way, that's the basic ways to get credits. And like I said, I'm sitting right now at 39 credits. So we're going to go to the create page and talk about how this differs from Starry AI. So we have 4 different AIs that you can access through Night Cafe. So Night Cafe, the ones where, like I said, when we were down here, there were only 3 back at this point. And those 3 are style transfer, artistic, and coherent. Style transfer is pretty self-explanatory, as you can see by this picture. I'll describe it for those that are listening. We have Starry Night by Pablo Picasso and a picture from the moon landing. That picture from the moon landing in the third picture over here is done in the style of Starry Night. So you have a style transfer, right? That's pretty self-explanatory. Artistic... and I don't know all of the breakdowns as to what this smaller text means. Oops. VQ GAN plus clip, clip plus guided diffusion, and then stable diffusion. I know obviously what stable diffusion is. This is just the natures of the different algorithms, how they were trained. So clip is the millions and millions and millions of images that factors also into stable diffusion. I don't know what VQ GAN is, and I don't know what guided diffusion specifically is. But the artistic one is much more abstract. The coherent AI is a lot less abstract, but still not as coherent as the name would make you think, I guess, is probably a good way to put that. And the stable diffusion, like I said, this is basically the same algorithm that Starry AI has access to, but they go about theirs in a little bit of a different way. So we are going to show advanced options. You can start with a starter image again. And we also have the modifiers again. These are kind of baked in presets. So all this does when you click it is it creates a text prompt based on this. So you click candy, it gives us vibrant colors, Candyland, Wonderland, gouache, swirls, detailed. Cubist then adds, because I clicked candy before, now I've clicked cubist, it keeps the candy text and then adds abstract cubism, Euclidean, Georgy Kurasov, Albert Glees. So these are 2 different artists here at the end. Euclidean is math. So that kind of tells you that. And then modifiers are popular modifiers that other people have been using a lot of effectively. And also, this is some of what the AI was trained on. So it knows Pablo Picasso, it knows Wes Anderson, it knows Tim Burton, it knows Studio Ghibli. So it knows all of these things. H.R. Geiger's in here somewhere. It also knows different types of art, the movements and styles. So you have modern European ink, you have, and this is going to dramatically change the way it ends up as well. Mediums and techniques, so you can do digital, you can do paint, you can do chalk, even a bunch of different options there. The 8-bit one is a little bit of a misnomer. It just kind of makes it look a little more video gamey. It doesn't make it look like an 8-bit video game, sadly. Photography is its own category unto itself for some reason, even though a lot of these words show up in these other options as well. Design tools and communities. So like certain communities have certain styles overall. I think some of these are a little bit ridiculous. I think DeviantArt is in here somewhere. Oh, they might have taken it out because, oh no, there it is right there. DeviantArt's in here. ZBrush, like that community is so big. There's so many different styles. I feel like that's a strange thing to have as a quote tool and community. But Unreal Engine, that's one that's pretty popular to get certain rendered looks. Descriptive terms, again, this is all kind of just helping you steer you in the direction of how the AI was trained. And then you have culture and genre. There's a lot of different punk things. You have steampunk, you have zombie core, you have clock punk, whatever that is, fantasy core, cyberpunk, obviously, glitch core, solar punk, and then classic. These are, again, just a different variation of favorites. Like, these are just things that get used a lot. And again, a lot of these showed up in other things. So 8K 3D, 8K resolution, abstract, all of those have shown up before. Yeah. So you can click on any one of these. I guess we should go to there. Click on any one of these, and it just adds that word to your prompt. So the most important thing is the prompt. So if you are well informed as to different things in the arts, as far as artists and styles and mediums and stuff, you don't need any of these modifiers. It's good to know what words were used to train the AI. But again, it knows so much. It probably knows at least a little bit of everything that you probably know. I mean, there is definitely going to be some things that you know that it doesn't. But I think those things are going to be very few and far between. But it also kind of makes the experimentation go a little bit faster. So if you kind of don't know exactly what a certain text is going to give you, and you don't want to take the time and type it all out, this will type it out for you. But again, it's all just going to generate words into your prompt, and then that is what the AI uses. Start image, again, same concept. You basically have the framework of your base image, and then it will fill in that framework based on the prompt that you input. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, is the advanced options here on Night Cafe. You have very similar options on Night Cafe that the more advanced generators have, such as Dream Studio and Midjourney. So, Seed, this, I really don't know exactly how to describe Seed. Basically, it's the point from which you start the iterations, I guess. There's a deeper dive to go in there as well. All of this stuff we can go a lot deeper in. Like, we can spend a whole 20 minutes talking about AI art seed generation. So yeah, Seed is just kind of a frame of reference to the end result. So if you use the same seed over and over and over again, then all of your art that you generate from that seed is going to look rather similar. Aspect ratio, again, like I said, we have some different ones here. The widescreen here is 16:9, not 5:3. You have a 4:3 landscape. You have square, which everyone does. You have portrait, which I do a lot in, and mobile vertical, which is just the widescreen standing up. Prompt weight. This is one that you didn't have over on Starry AI. Prompt weight. If you weight it heavier, then it's going to take you a little bit more literal in the words that you used. If you weight it lighter, it's going to use it as a rough frame of reference. It's going to kind of resemble what you asked for. But if you go all the way in either direction, it's going to be kind of silly. But, I mean, it's worth a shot. Just so you can know for yourself, then go ahead and go all the way on either side. Then you have the number of images. So this is what I was looking for in Starry AI that I thought variations would get rid of. But you can do just one at a time. You can do 4 at a time, 9 at a time. So you get something similar to Crayon, to this guy here. Or you can do 16 images. Now, each of these images that it renders is all going to be like a proper resolution. So we'll get to resolution in a minute, but they're all going to be the same resolution. They're not going to be this like 300 by 300 square that then gets really gross when you blow it up. They start at 512 by 512. Where are we? 512 by 512 for the one by one, and then they kind of go up from there. Sampling method. This is the other thing that's similar to seed, is hard to put into words with my fairly limited amount of knowledge as it stands right now. K_LMS seems to be the default for a couple of the stable diffusion interfaces, but all of these are options. I see very little difference from one sampling method to the other, so I would have to do a little bit more study to kind of fully understand what the actual differences are. But I have played around with these a little bit, and they don't make a drastic difference one way or the other. So that moves us into our final little section here, and that is resolution and runtime. So your resolution here, you have thumbnail, which is 512 by 512. Oh, let's get into portrait, because that's what I do a lot more of. So yeah, there we go. Thumbnail for portrait is 384 by 576. Then you have the quote-unquote low res, which they have at just under a half a megapixel, which is 512 by 704. And then medium res, which for some reason I don't understand why this is here, not recommended to run at medium resolution, which they have at just under a megapixel, which is sitting at 768 by 1024. There is going to be a fair amount of difference in the output resolution. So if you do what we have, we don't have it queued up. So you do a Mortal Kombat Ninja. If you do a thumbnail, likely you're going to get a smaller image, something that if you're speaking in camera terms or photo terms, the picture was taken very close to the source. Low res image is going to back the camera up a little bit, and you're going to get a little bit more detail, a little bit more of the fine tuning stuff. And then medium resolution, again, it's just going to make it a little bit bigger. I think part of the reason why they say not recommended is because medium resolution, the images largely that the AI was trained on are like 2 megapixels and under, and then the way the output works is it becomes more difficult to render larger images that resemble the prompt. I think that's as in depth as I understand that at the moment. And then runtime over here on the left is iterations. So much like we did over here at Starry AI, you have 50, 100, or 150 iterations. Runtime, we have short, medium, and long, and each one costs more credits than before. And this is how long it has to think about the prompt that you have given it. So the text up here, this is how long it thinks about it in order to make it as close to that prompt as you have asked. So again, prompt weight is pretty factors directly into runtime and the outcome as well. So I don't do anything really in thumbnail anymore unless I'm really unsure of what the results might be. Thumbnail is a single credit, assuming you haven't changed anything else back here that costs more credit, like number of images or anything like that. So thumbnails 1, low res is 2. 2 credits. It's pretty easy to get credits on this, so I usually run with 2. So let's get back to our Mortal Kombat Ninja. Well, that's actually pretty cool. Not gonna lie, I dig that. So the only prompt we have on this is Mortal Kombat Ninja. So that's our first image. Ooh, it's taking it a second to load these images. That's our second image, a little less interesting, but still got a little Baraka vibes going on here. A little Noob Saibot action going on here, I feel like. That's interesting. Notice it really struggles with hands and proportions. Oh, and that's even like box art. Oh, I know I've been disregarding chat. Oh, yeah. Yes, you can hear my dog. Yes. Engineering technology. You need to write an essay on how robots are going to be affecting us. Hey, man, just wrote the most random stuff in the conclusion, but the teacher said to write references from movies. So I put Wall-E, Terminator, Sentinels from X-Men. That's very smart, sir. Very smart. That's really cool. I mean, you could reference... what is it? You said engineering technology, write an essay on how robots are going to be affecting us. AI is effectively like robots affecting us, isn't it? So you could write a little bit about what we're talking about. Anyway, back to what we're talking about. So yeah, this is, what did we say? Was that 100? Yeah, it's 150 iterations. So we got some pretty cool stuff with the longest detailed option that we had, right? Like, I really dig this one. The proportions are actually quite good. The hands are a little wonky, this one specifically, but that almost looks like you could... And again, you're going to need some Photoshop skills or something to make this work 100%, and you can't copyright artificially created works unless you have changed it to be something unique unto yourself. So that's always recommended. But let's go take a look at, oh yeah, we can't really, because this is all thumbnail size. This is what I mean by, this is the artistic. So it's super abstract. This is the artistic. This is coherent. And then we get into, more coherent stuff because it looks a little more human as I was trying to render different Mortal Kombat ninjas. And then we get landscape stuff. The coherent AI does pretty well. I dug that one a lot. And then again, more Mortal Kombat stuff, this time in Dune. Still quite abstract though. And then they introduced, oh, and here we have Witch King stuff, a little gothy stuff. And then this was the first thing I did with Stable Diffusion in Night Cafe. This is, where is my prompt for this was Mortal Kombat Ninja Victory Pose, Stable, High Resolution, Octane Render, Volumetric Light. So that's what it created. We have very good proportions. This looks like something that they could have done as early art for the next game, right? This is pretty dang good. So then I tried to, you can evolve on here too, which is, I don't know, is this, yeah, you can evolve here as well on Starry AI. I haven't played with the evolve on Starry AI just yet. Stable Diffusion, though, does not take very well to evolution, so you have to change your algorithm if you want to evolve a piece, and that does not result in the best of outputs. This is how I tried to evolve that previous piece. It's not at all what I wanted it to be. I also think I cranked up the... Where is it? Runtime. I cranked up the runtime. I dropped the prompt weight, and I dramatically increased the start image weight. So yeah, that probably had something to do with it. I probably could have gotten something a little bit better, but we have different iterations. But this is all stable diffusion. This is all much more coherent, even if I didn't upscale them. And then we get to the second one that I upscaled. So upscale on here, you go to enhance. So if we go to enhance, we'll go to one that I haven't made larger. Go to enhance, and then you have a bunch of different options here as well. So enhance, you have 2 times, 4 times, 6 times, 8 times, and this one isn't always here, this 13.89 times. I don't know why they didn't just round it up to 14, but this makes a giant image. I don't generally go over 8 times when I upscale, but each one costs a different number of credits, and the upscale AI is pretty good. So this was the first one that I really upscaled. Again, Mortal Kombat themed because, you know. And then we started getting into, I have story ideas that I've been working on that I needed visualization help with, which is another good use for this. If you can generate something and you're writing text-based things, this could help you like have something tangible. If this is what, say this is what my superhero, I wanted my superhero to look like, or very similar to this, then now I have something I can see. So when I'm writing words, I can describe the thing I see rather than trying to hold on to the same mental image from day to day. Again, more stable diffusion stuff. Some of the stuff is really dang cool. Like this guy right here. I dug it. That's a lot of fun. So yeah, that's Night Cafe in a nutshell. Again, there is deeper dives that can be done in pretty much every aspect of this. But that's the long and the short of it. This is one of my favorites as well. I really, really like that one. This one too. All right, I'm done. So we can, you can do that, and then you can also create collections. So things that have similar looks, you can put them together. You can do collections for people you find in your feed, in the Explore tab, in all of this. Just generally all over a pretty great experience if you are wanting to really get into AI generated art. Oh, very interesting thing here. What was the difference? There was a really minor difference between these two things. Are these two? Oh yeah, it was the seed and the prompt weight, I think, was the only difference. Runtime, seed and runtime was the only difference. So yeah, the next one we're going to talk about, this one's much less free, is Dream Studio. Now, Dream Studio, we're going to see a lot of really similar elements here. So if we go, let's start here. So membership with Dream Studio, you create a brand new account with Dream Studio and they give you $2 for free. $2 with them is approximately 200 generations. It's a very approximate number because not every generation is 1 credit. All right. So, this is all whatever. Go to Dream is what they call it, and this is your interaction with the AI. So in Dream Studio, this is just another iteration of Stable Diffusion. Wow, I just kind of brain farted that, didn't I? So Stable Diffusion. So in Dream Studio, let's find some of my renders in Dream Studio. Dream Studio is going to look very similar to Night Cafe because they're effectively the same algorithm, just a different instance of the same algorithm. So this I created in Dream Studio. This guy I created in Dream Studio. We're going to get to there. I've done plenty of Mortal Kombat stuff in Dream Studio. Where is it? This guy right here. This, because we're going to talk about this. So open with This guy. All right. So this is the kind of things that you can create in Dream Studio. It's very similar to we'll close this one, and then we're going to open up the other one. Open with Firefox. That guy. And we remember this guy, right? This was from Starry AI. This is the Starry AI render. This is the Night Cafe render. And this is the Dream Studio render. These are all three the exact same prompt. The only difference is the interactivity, the UI, I guess, with the algorithm. So once again, Dream Studio, Night Cafe, and Starry AI. Yeah, exact same prompt, but the seeds changed and the UI changed. Back to Dream Studio. So you'll notice, looking at the image I created with Dream Studio versus the other two, is it is significantly smaller. Like this guy is downscaled. That's the size that it is. Likewise here, this guy is downscaled. That's the size that it is. Much larger. This is the largest one. It's easier to upscale with Starry AI than the other two. So Dream Studio, we have very similar interactivity. We have the width of the image, so you can change width and height individually. So you can do your own ratio stuff, but effectively you have 16 by 9 there, 9 by 16 there, and pretty much everything in between, and squares if they're both all the way to the left. Configure scale, CFG scale, is how much the image will be like your prompt. So this is the prompt weight. So if you drop it down, it's going to resemble less of what you're looking for specifically with the words you use. You go up. It's very similar, once again, to when we were in here. Come on. The prompt weight. That is the prompt weight right there. Steps. This is how many iterations. So this is getting us more in line with Starry AI by calling it iterations. Right, so we have iterations. You only have 3 options here, though. In Dream Studio, you can go from 10, and it jumps in single numbers. You can jump all the way up to 150, but it does, again, single-digit changes between 10 and 150. Generally speaking, most people keep it in the 50 to 100 range, roughly. Experiment, but that seems to be the window for the most success. Number of images, once again, we can go all the way up to 9. I guess with Night Cafe, we can go up to 16. But again, though, each one of these images is an image unto itself, unlike back here with, I closed that tab, but the Crayon AI, where each one was effectively just a section of an image. And then the sampler, we're back to sampler. Again, that's basically the same list that we had in Night Cafe. I think the only difference is the PLMS and the DDIM samplers. Those are the only 2 differences. Everything else is there. And then we have model. There is 2 different options for which version of Stable Diffusion you want to interact with. You can interact with the older one, which is 1.4, or the newest one, which is 1.5, an option you didn't have in Night Cafe, though Night Cafe just automatically interacts with the most recent iteration. This one gives you the option. Seed, again, we have the seed interactivity. So if there's a little toggle over here to the right. If you leave the toggle off, then it randomizes the seed. If you turn the toggle on, then you can type in the seed, right? And the seed's basically just a randomly generated number based on things that we kind of already talked about. Initial image is, again, the exact same thing. Start image that we had here in Night Cafe, and start image, initial image that we have here in Starry AI. So the biggest difference between this is you have a couple more kind of fine-tuning options. And even just this basic nothing is 1.8 credits, right? So we have 200 credits that we get, but a basic prompt is 1.8 credits because I've increased the steps, I think. Or is it the config? Yeah, it's the steps, because it's the config scale doesn't affect it, but the steps does. So if you want just one, you have to keep it at about 50 iterations for 1 credit. So if you want to have it think a little bit longer, it's going to cost you a little bit more. You cannot, with Dream Studio, you cannot earn more credits. You have to purchase more credits. That is the way it is. It sucks, but that's the way it is. Also, when you iterate, so let's create our Mortal Kombat Ninja. Mortal Kombat Ninja, and we're going to make this portrait sized. Keep that there. So, all right. So even changing the height, look, we're now up to 2.4 credits just by changing the height, because my steps are at 50. Nothing else has changed but the height. So interesting. Gonna turn the configuration scale up and turn the steps up to 100. So it's a little bit more expensive to render, because now that we're at 100, we're at almost 5 credits to generate this image, just this single image. So if I were to change number of images, we're gonna change. Let's change it to 2. Oh, no kidding! That doesn't change the credit. I didn't realize that. I didn't try that before. You can't, though, affect the seed. Oh, it starts you off with different seeds. All right, hey, we're experimenting here in stream. So let's say 6. We'll say Mortal Kombat Ninja. It's going to give us presumably 6 different seeds, since it's taken away our seed editability. Oh, okay. So I'm not losing my mind. It's 4.8 credits per image. So let's do 2. Yeah, that credits slash image threw me for a loop, apparently, for a second. Mortal Kombat Ninja, raw prompt, basic prompt, no initial image. Let's iterate this, and then we'll talk about. So this one iterates pretty fast, unlike Night Cafe takes a second. And we didn't take a look at our generated image up in Night Cafe. So this is what it gave us when we said Mortal Kombat Ninja. Whoa, something's crazy is going on here. The head looks like it wants to be like a basketball or something. The hands are, as expected, crazy, but the rest of this image is kind of cool. The eyes look sleepy, but the fire elements behind it and in front of it here, that's pretty nifty, man. All right, Dream Studio is done. We have 2 different. Wow. Maybe I'm gonna play here a little bit. We're gonna go. So if you want to duplicate your success, you can literally do that. There's a duplicate button on Night Cafe. Duplicate, and then we're going to change number of images to 4, and we're going to. Let's do 2, because I think that might do. Yeah, okay. That's going to create 2 different images, I think. We're going to up the prompt weight to 70, and we're going to up the runtime to medium. And we're going to say, yes, we want to use 8 credits. Yep, confirm. And then we're going to take a look at that. So, much more coherent here, a little bit more powerful, not by much though. Like it's not a huge difference from from Night Cafe to Dream Studio. So I would say play around in Dream Studio and use up your 200 credits, but I don't know that they're necessarily worth a purchase. They are when you're into. So, all right. So before I get too far ahead of myself, this tells you the seed that it used to generate, because remember, it's 2 different seeds, which is really cool. The hands are much nicer on both of these than we've seen so far. I just lost my train of thought. Oh, so, and then it has a download button as you mouse over as well. So you can download there is no upscaling option. So you have to upscale stuff from Dream Studio on your own. You can find upscalers on the interwebs. All you got to do is look. There are free options. There's Gigapixel, but that you have to pay for Gigapixel. There's other ones that you can pay for. Or again, you can find free ones. They're just super limited when they're free. So Dream Studio stores ever so briefly your history. Now, since I clicked off of the Dream option and then I go back to Dream, it clears my images. So you have to basically redream, as it says here, redream this image or redream this image, right? So that kind of sucks. If you're going to do something with the images that it creates, because there's no real guarantee it's going to be the exact same one. It's just going to be one that very closely resembles the one that you got before. And I think it also costs you to redream. So let's see. We redream 1. Let's go back to Night Cafe while we're looking at this. Oh, interesting. All right, I don't understand. Two different... It was supposed to give me 2 different seeds. Oh, show progress images. Nope. It was supposed to give me 2 different seeds, but it didn't. Huh. So yeah, we have something kind of similar to what we got over here in Dream Studio before, right? All right, so this reiterated, we can see it's quite similar. It's almost exactly the same. I would venture to say it's probably exactly the same in every meaningful respect. But if you go over to membership, let's see what happened. $1.80. Yeah. I think it. All right. I guess we have to be 100% accurate. We're going to redream again and see what happens. $1.87 is where we were at. 87.9. Yeah. So it charges you to redream. Which kind of sucks. But purchase, if you go into purchase membership, for 10 credits is $1. So you're spending $10, you get 1,000 credits. So they're 10 cents a credit. So that's the same as it was for Night Cafe. So, but you don't earn. There's no ability to earn credits. You can only purchase credits once you've used up your first 200 that it gives you for free. Some handy stuff in here that you can probably use throughout other stable diffusion iterations. It gives you prompt guide, so it kind of talks to you about generating your prompt and things to use. There's a social element. You can connect to the socials of Dream Studio. They're on Discord. I'm pretty sure they have a Twitter and probably an Instagram. And then frequently asked questions kind of goes through a lot of the stuff we've already talked about. So that is the basic comparison. Oh, and I said we were going to talk about Midjourney too, didn't I? So Midjourney, similar to Dream Studio in that you get a certain number of free credits to generate your art. I don't remember what that number is, but this is quite a bit more powerful if you're going for things that look realistic. This is, you'll recognize the top of this guy's head because it is now part of the live Nerdy Ninja logo. You can upscale inside of Midjourney. The way you interact with Midjourney is through Discord exclusively. Epos Vox over on his Analog Dream channel has a number of very in-depth videos on how to interact with Midjourney. This is the same prompt that this image was created from, the same prompt that created this image and this image and this image. So that'll kind of give you an idea of the difference between Midjourney. Midjourney is not Stable Diffusion. Midjourney creates 4 images initially. This is the first. And then you can kind of iterate on each one of these images. Again, each of these images is an image unto itself, and you can make it bigger or get variations based on it and all that jazz. This as well, I think. Yeah, this is also that same prompt. So where are they? This guy. This guy is the same prompt that brought us these. This guy is the same prompt. Really interesting stuff. This guy is the same prompt. This guy's, but it's pretty different the way this AI works. This was the initial image that it gave me based on that same prompt. The initial 4 images, I guess. You can do all of the iterative stuff that we were talking about in Dream Studio, Night Cafe, and Starry AI. Just it's all text based, so you have to input it into as part of the prompt in order to get the higher resolution stuff. And very interesting. I really dig it, but it is a bit more expensive. So if we go to manage subscription, $10 is a basic membership. That would be $10 a month. Gets you 200 images. That's it. And every time, so that counts every time you go to oh yeah. So every time you go from, let's say, well, every time you go from this image to this image as an upscaled option, that uses a render. So that 200 images a month, we've just used 2 trying to get narrow down exactly what we want. So $10 a month, that's not it's a little pricey. Again, DALL-E 2 I don't have access to, so we can't really talk about it. It also costs. I just don't know what their structure looks like. There are other options to make it slightly to make it a bit cheaper. $30 a month gets you a standard membership, which gets you unlimited generations. And then there's a business member as well. Yeah, business is $600 a month. Unlimited plan, you get private image generation. So that's we can do a deep dive into that kind of stuff too. But again, Epos Vox does an amazing job of explaining all of that in detail because he had early access to Midjourney, and I have only recently been able to access Midjourney. But still, a lot of fun. That is AI in a nutshell. That is this portion of the live stream. We've spent another hour. We're going to play some games, man. We got some Shredder's Revenge coming up. I need to take a little bit of a breather. So not going to be as long of a wait between that one and this one. Yeah, man, I'm totally cool if you do a shout out on the TikTok. Oh, and you're probably not watching anymore because I was talking so much. Let's see. Are you still in the room, bud? Somebody's in the room. Sorry, I was not paying attention to chat, and that is totally my fault. I own that. Anyway, we're going to take a moment's break just so I can lubricate my vocal cords, and we are going to play a little Shredder's Revenge, maybe a round or two of Halo. I'm not a huge fan of the Yappening event that's happening right now, but I think I actually got everything I want out of it. So we'll probably play some Halo. It might be Master Chief Collection, though, because there was a massive update to that. But either way, thank you for checking out the AI stuff. Live stream folk. We'll be right back. The rest of you watching on video on demand, go check out the other stuff. We'll see you in a minute. Yeah, I gotta... Oh, where am I going? No! Before we get out of here, nerds, again, thank you very much. And always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.